Alison, Rosen is your new best friend. Alison, with her good times never end. Alison, Rosen, doing wavy pencil pants again. Alison's your new best friend.
Hey everyone, hi, hello, it's me, Alison Rosen. Welcome to Alison Rosen is your new best friend. This is the 4th episode. However, I should probably stop telling you what number episode it is because eventually these are going to air in some other kind of order, and that is going to be all kinds of confusing for you. But for now, I believe this will be the 4th episode. My guest today is Riki Lindhome. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming
me.
all the way out here from what part of Los Angeles
Hollywood.
do you live in? Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming here from the same city that you're already in.
Right, you're welcome.
I feel like I wasted my thank you, but I do appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So, just a lot of thanking that just happened. So anyway,
we're girls.
I know. Yeah. And we need to talk about being girls who have podcasts because you're the host of a podcast. So we're going to get into that.
Cool.
But Gary and I were just talking about this with Mark Maron, not to drop a name or anything, who we interviewed last week. And he interviews people, and then I believe he puts an intro on the top afterwards, whereas I don't do that. And what that means is that the guest has to sit there while I share some personal stuff between me and the listeners.
That's okay.
But feel free to jump into this personal stuff.
No, that sounds good.
I just have two things. I just have two things I need to discuss.
Do it.
Which is right now, not as you listen to this, but right now as we record this, my website is down. And it is making it so that it's hard for me to concentrate on anything else, not unlike having a relative in the hospital. And I don't say that lightly because I have had relatives in the hospital. And like for a little while, you can start to focus on your own life and think about other things. But then it keeps coming back into your mind. And that's like my website. It's not okay right now.
You should Twitter that you had so many hits on your website that it crashed.
I know. That's not
you're
what
working
happened.
on it.
I know. You guys crashed my server.
Wow.
I've seen people write that.
Yeah.
And then people will write back, humble brag. And then I'm like,
just a brag.
Yeah. Thank you. No, it's just a brag. I don't do the humble brag. If I'm going to brag, I just brag.
I was on Humble Brag once. Harris Whittles told me. I can't remember what it was for, but it was pretty good. I was like, yeah, you got me. That's fair.
I know. And then the other thing, and this is very very personal and very too much information. However, I just started taking the birth control pill again after having taken it like a million years ago because I have endometriosis, and I've talked about this. I had to have some ovarian cysts removed in December, and it's all, a delightful, fun story that I keep mentioning. But anyway, that was because of endometriosis, and so now I have to take the birth control. And for years, my gynecologist has been asking if I want to get on it because I believe gynecologists think everyone should be on it if they're women. And I haven't wanted to because of headaches and because of potential weight gain, because I'm always worried about gaining weight. So those have been my things. But now I don't really have a choice. I have to take it. So I just started taking it 2 or 3 days ago. And
question.
I should probably know how many days ago.
Have you tried the Nuvaring?
No.
It's amazing.
Really?
No side effects at all. I tried a couple different pills. I had weird side effects. I gained weight. I was moody. I was angry. Tried the Nuvaring. I've been on it for a year. It's fine.
No side effects?
None. Not for me.
I think the reason that I didn't want to try that is because I think it actually has more hormones in it than the pill she put me on.
Oh, really?
Maybe not, though.
No.
I don't know.
Maybe it does have side effects and I'm a totally different person and I don't realize it, but I feel fine.
You seem the same, even though I didn't know you before.
Mm-hmm. It was a little scary the first time I used it because I was like, is it going to be there when I go up to find it? And that's all I could think about. Like, you can't stop thinking about your website. For 3 weeks, I was like, is it still going to be in there?
Right. For
and
anyone
what
who
if it's
doesn't
not?
No, the Nuvaring is sort of like how big would you say? It's like a giant key ring sized circle that you stick up your...
Yep.
And it just sits there releasing hormones.
Right. And you just hope it's still there when you go back to find it. But luckily, it was right where I left it.
And you go to find it with your fingers?
Yeah.
It's not that... Do you feel it at all? No, right?
No, but I am told that men can feel it, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Sort of like how I believe men can sometimes feel a diaphragm.
Right.
And by the way... This is Lady Talk with Alison and Riki.
Yeah.
Do you know anyone who uses a diaphragm anymore? Because
no.
I feel like
I don't even know what they look like.
I think they look like, this is what I imagine they look like. I'm not 100% sure. Imagine like a red rubber ball from childhood cut in thirds, and then with like sort of a ridge around the edge.
See, I think the diaphragm went the way of the sponge and the dental dam. I think it's over.
Right.
Yeah.
In terms of things that don't really work.
Right. Mm-hmm. Or things that are too complicated.
Yeah. Or things that I used to read about in Judy Blume novels.
Right.
So anyway, I started the pill. Today's the third day that I took it. And I weighed myself this morning and I gained 3 pounds overnight. 3 pounds. Now, I did eat soy sauce yesterday. And so I know because it's salty stuff can make you retain fluid.
Right.
So, and I'm thinking it can't be real weight. It's got to just be water weight. And maybe it's sort of like before your period, or I don't know what the fuck. However, that's in a total exaggeration. One gynecologist and a friend have said that the whole weight gain thing, that's just a myth. It's just that it makes you hungrier. Women don't actually gain weight on the pill. Oh. However, every woman I've known, including myself, does gain weight on the pill.
Yeah, I did.
So, yeah, how much did you gain?
Well, I started to gain weight, and so I stopped taking it.
Yeah.
I was like, nope, that's not going to work.
Okay. And just to fully drive away any listeners who want to hear about things other than the birth control pill, which one were you on?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's a low dose one.
Is it?
I believe, yeah.
Well, yeah, it did. I think you should give it 2 weeks and see, because I don't think you can judge by one night of gaining 3 pounds. Give it 2 weeks. And
what if I can't fit through my hallways anymore?
Well, then you know.
Yeah, that's the way the way it performs birth control.
Yeah,
no one will want to be with you.
Yeah, exactly. They make you fat, and no one wants to have sex with you anymore.
All right, and then I'll try out that Nuvaring. So anyway, that's what's going on, and that's why it's hard for me to concentrate, because my website is in a bad way, and so is my ass. So anyway, today is Valentine's Day.
Yay!
How are you feeling about that?
Wonderful.
You sound wonderful.
Yeah, I don't want to think about it. I'm in denial that it's Valentine's Day.
Yeah, see, I always found that Valentine's Day is actually one of those holidays where it was pretty easy for me to ignore it, as opposed to New Year's Eve, where like you really, I mean, if you don't have New Year's Eve plans and you're not going to try to make them, then you are sort of actively choosing not to participate. Yes. Whereas Valentine's Day is just sort of there if you want it. Unless you're in a relationship, in which case you kind of have to do it. Last
Valentine's Day, I performed in Doug Benson's show at Largo in the Benson Interruption.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but my boyfriend at the time came with me and hung out backstage. So that was our Valentine's date. Not very romantic.
Is this the guy that, now, when you came on the Adam Carolla show, you talked about a guy that he wanted to be the funny one? Oh, no, that's a different guy.
No, that was
that's
a totally
the guy that
different guy.
Beige curtains.
That was a guy that I dated briefly.
Is this Puerto Rico?
Yeah, good memory.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was him.
And why did you guys break up?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. It was a surprise to me.
And have you dated anyone since?
I actually did go on a couple dates with someone. I think I'm too sensitive to date. I think maybe because we broke up in April, and then I didn't go out with anyone till December. So how long is that? Like, I don't know, however long that is. And then
it's like 8 months.
I dated someone. Yeah, so I took an 8-month break, and then I tried to date someone, and it just like, and I was like, I don't know.
What's E?
Well, like,
I actually know, but I say that.
Do you? He wasn't. I don't know. I don't think he was really looking for a relationship, and I don't know if I necessarily was, but like knowing someone's not, you just can't really proceed. Right. So I just kind of called it. I'm like, you know, and then he offered to
just have sex with you?
Keep sleeping with me as long as he didn't have to commit or treat me well. So I thought, I'm gonna pass, and so now I'm just chilling.
How could you turn down that great offer, though?
I don't know. I mean, guys are so sweet. I love it. No, the guy was nice up till that point. And then I was like, ooh.
Did he tell you straight out that he didn't want anything, though?
No.
Because I went through years sort of hearing guys say they didn't want anything and not believing them, because I was always like, but all this feeling between us. I didn't say that, but I thought that. But I was also dumb and young.
Yeah. If someone tells you who they are, just believe them.
Did it take you a while to get to that point where you believed them, though, or did you have more wisdom than I did growing up?
It took me forever to believe them. Yeah, my whole 20s was like a disaster dating-wise. It was fun, but like, oh God, you know. I think that's why I can't go back to dating guys like the one that I tried to date in December. I was like, oh, this feels like I'm 25. I'm like, I like guys who are really, really nice. I actually do. I don't
go for the bad boy.
I like warm. I like guys who bring me flowers and who, you know, I'm into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and so what did it feel like in December?
It just felt like it felt like I was like 25 and it was like, hey, I'll call you whenevs. Let's hang soon. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm too old for this.
Was he young or was he just?
Yeah. I just don't think he was in that place.
Yeah.
I think he was in a different place than I was. And yeah, I think, but it's weird because since then I've actually kind of felt better about my other breakup. I think it kind of was the thing that I needed to sort of like move forward.
Yeah.
I think I needed to like date someone else and see that like, oh, I can kind of like someone. Like this isn't like the end of the world for me. Like I can like someone, I can sort of move forward and like have a love life eventually. Not yet. I'm still kind of but eventually.
Right. Yeah. I find that if you date someone else too soon, then the whole thing just serves to remind you of how much you, and I say you, I'm just talking about myself. The whole thing serves to would always serve to remind me how much I miss the person I just broke up with.
Yeah.
If for no other reason than just because I miss how comfortable I felt with them. I didn't have to worry about all those things that, like, I remember once, when I talk about this story, I describe it as I was so self-conscious, like even my hair felt self-conscious.
Oh, God.
There was this guy that I wasn't even going out with. I was just, we just had this really sort of tumultuous friendship with sexual tension in it. And I was really hung up on this guy.
Yeah.
Eventually we ended up getting together and then it didn't really work. And then we became just friends. And after that, everything was pretty smooth in our friendship. But at this point, things were still like, I really had a crush on him, but I kind of made myself go out with this other guy. And we went to the movies. And I remember I was holding a Diet Coke in my left hand. And you and I both have trouble with left and right. But I know this was my left hand.
Yes.
And I went to put, and the guy was really cute. And like in any other time, I would have really liked him. And I went to put the drink, which is like cold and covered in condensation, in the little drink holder, but it wasn't going in, so I was just kind of like pushing it down and like, what the hell? And then I look over and he looks at me like, what are you doing? And I had this wet cup and I was trying to slide it between his leg and the arm.
Oh, oops. You're trying to dump it on him.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
No, I was just like, getting frisky with the drink to him. I don't know. It was just,
you were giving your Coke a hand job.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. You're like, hey.
Yeah. So then I just thought, what am I doing? I can't do this.
It's hard. I don't like worrying about my body either. I like kind of just like being like, okay, now we're past that. Now I can just be comfortable again. I don't like that beginning of relationship where you have to kind of think about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
I just want to move right past that.
But then there's that question. I do too. But then there's that question of how quickly should you move past it?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm currently dating, or I'm currently in a relationship. And I remember very early on, I was at his house and I had my period. It's not all ladies' issues with me. It's just often female issues. And I had my period, and I remember just telling him and then feeling like it's too soon for me to be this kind of open and unromantic.
This human,
though.
yeah.
Yeah, this human, yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't seem to mind, though. But I do feel, but I always feel like there should be at least a few, I don't know, weeks or so where you only see me with makeup on.
Right. I do too. But then I like moving past that to just like
Sweatpantsville.
Not Sweatpantsville. It's weird. I never really go to Sweatpantsville, even in long relationships. I probably should, but I kind of.
That's because you're skinny and you don't have the muffin top issue happening because of your Nuvaring.
Oh, the muffin top issue. That's why I don't wear sweatpants. Is it or?
Well, that's my theory.
Yeah.
See, my theory is because you're not like spilling out over the top of your jeans and feeling like you need to conceal and be comfortable.
Oh.
Maybe you're not. I don't mean to paint you with that brush if it's unfair.
No, I don't know. I guess I've never really thought about it.
Well, like when you just let down and you are who you are and you're comfortable, what does that look like?
Well, I just mean like I like getting past like the being naked in front of someone. Like I hate thinking about that.
Yeah.
Until like, like that's like my nightmare. That's like the thing that I'm like, that makes me so nervous about dating. Like the first time you have to do that, that's like, oh God,
Okay, are you a lights on or a lights off kind of person?
Off for a while.
For sex, I mean.
Yeah, for a while. It's got to be off for a while, and then I'm like, okay,
right.
Now I like you, and I think you like me, so it's good. Yeah.
See, I've always been a lights off kind of person, and for the first time in this relationship, I'm finding that sort of late at night, inky darkness, lights are off. It just makes me feel really disconnected and far away. And so I actually
really?
almost want the lights to be on. It's the first time I've ever felt that way.
Oh, that's good.
It's weird though, because in the past I always felt like that was more sort of erotic when you can't really.
Yeah,
when
that's
when
how
you're
I
walking into
feel.
things.
I like the lights off. It feels more like sexy to me.
Right.
It's more
Yeah.
fun, I think. But I think guys like the lights on a little bit.
Yeah, because they're visual.
Yeah, they want to see.
But
like, what are we looking at? Like, what do we need to see?
Right. But see, knowing that they're visual and they like to see, then that makes me be like, oh, we should turn the lights off.
Yeah.
I don't feel good about what I have going on.
Right.
Okay, well, I definitely do want to come back to relationships.
Okay.
But let's talk about you and your career and your podcast. Because now that I think about it, I don't think I gave you an adequate introduction.
Oh.
So you're an actor.
Yes.
Or do you say actor or actress?
Either one.
Because I worked at Time Out in New York, where they had a pretty thick style guide. And for people that don't know, style guide is like what different publications have, which like, you know, magazines have to decide, like, are we going to spell gray, Grey, or Gray? And what's our rule with the serial comma? And do we say actress or do we say actor for both genders?
Comedian or comedian?
Yeah. So theater with an RE or with an ER?
Right. Yeah.
How pretentious are we? So they always said actor for both genders, and then I started saying it, even though the first time I ever heard it, it sounded really weird.
It is kind of weird.
So you're a thespian.
Yeah, I like either. I like both.
Okay. And you're in Garfunkel and Oates, which is a hilarious, how do you describe, musical act?
Comedy folk duo. Yeah, it's a
folk
music.
duo.
Yeah, it's a comedy music band with my partner Kate Micucci.
Okay. Okay. And so you're in movies and television and commercials and the stage, and you do stand up.
Yep.
I don't think I knew that you did stand up, but if you did Benson Interruption,
well,
then
not
you do.
stand up. I just Garfunkel and Oates.
Okay.
Which I don't really call stand up. I guess I call it that just because for the lack of another category.
Right.
Like
Right.
I don't think of myself as a stand up in the way that real stand ups are. Like I know I'm not at that level, but I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah.
So
right, because you don't want to say that you're a band.
yeah, because we're not really a band. If someone came to just hear music, like they'd be like, "What is this?" Like, they're just hearing us, rap about penises and stuff. So it's not
and pregnant ladies.
Yeah, exactly. Not exactly a
smug.
band, but yeah. So that's what I meant when I said stand up and interruption. But
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So did you perform with Kate?
yeah.
And then Doug interrupted you guys?
Yeah.
While you were playing. So for people that don't know, Benson Interruption is comedian Doug Benson. Coming up next week on this podcast,
Yay.
Comedian Doug Benson does this show where he invites different performers, stand-ups, and musical acts, evidently, to perform on the stage. And then he kind of just... I wouldn't say he heckles them, but he kind of interrupts and asks questions, and it's really funny.
It's really funny. Sometimes he interrupts us during songs, but usually he doesn't. He'll let us finish the song, and then and then he'll just start talking to us because it's hard to interrupt during a song. Sometimes we wouldn't even hear him,
right?
But Doug actually introduced Kate and I.
Oh, how?
He invited both of us to his show, to the Interruption, and she and I were in the waiting room at UCB, and that's how we met.
That's cool. And had you wanted to be in a funny musical act?
No. I'd been writing funny songs on my own for like 8 or 9 years at this point, but never, like, it didn't actually occur to me that I could do anything with that. I just did it for myself. And then I met Kate, and she did the same thing, and so it kind of went from there.
Did you ever actually perform them solo for people, though? And I'm going to tell you specifically what I'm thinking of. Millionaire Matchmaker and this current season of The Bachelor, I've seen women... Well, on Millionaire Matchmaker, there was this girl who would freestyle, and she would do this on dates, and it made you cringe.
Eesh.
And then on this current season of The Bachelor, Emily also raps occasionally.
Oh, God.
But it's not... But she's so likable that it's okay. And she's getting a PhD in epidemiology, so her raps generally involve some kind of discussion of germs.
Oh, God.
It's weird, though.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, how did this go? Like, for you, were you ever like...
I've never rapped on a date.
Okay.
I'm not that likable that I can get away with rapping on dates. But yeah, I don't know. I'd played in college. I would play songs at coffee shops sometimes, and then I would play like 3 serious songs and 2 funny songs, and the funny songs were always way more fun. And then I would play them like at parties or something if my friends were all like drunk or something, and I'm like, listen to this song I wrote about this stalker guy or something. And then but then Kate, I saw her actually performing her songs, and I was like, oh wait, you can do that? That's kind of neat, Yeah.
And you play guitar.
Yes.
And she doesn't play anything,
She plays
right?
ukulele.
Oh, ukulele.
Yeah.
I feel bad now.
Why?
Because I said that she doesn't play anything, but she rocks the 4-string.
Yeah, and she plays piano and guitar. She's very musical.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where did you go to college?
I went to Syracuse.
Okay. And so you performed at a coffee house there. Do you feel like people still perform at coffee houses, or was that just a thing back then?
I think they do, but I think its time has passed.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's sort of, I'm sure somebody performs at some coffee house somewhere, maybe in Portland.
Right.
That feels like the kind of place. We just got back from Portland on Sunday, and I bet they have coffee shop performers there.
What were you guys doing up there?
Playing, just touring with Garfunkel and Oates. I've been on tour. Like, I'm only in town now, like 2 or 3 days a week at this point.
Do you like touring this much?
Yes. That's the benefit of not dating is just like I've just been constantly out of town and I don't mind. It's just fun. It's this adventure and I don't feel guilty about not being here.
And do you guys stay in hotels, or is this a van tour?
Oh God, no, we're not brave enough for a van tour. No, we stay in hotels and like comedy clubs just fly us up there and then we stay and it's fun. There's like nothing more fun than that.
What kind of people come to the shows?
It's so strange. The biggest cross section of people you can imagine, like ages, like there's people like in their 70s. There's like the craziest cross section of people. We'd have no idea who our fan base is or how they heard of us. We're just happy that they're there.
That's so cool.
But we don't know who they are.
And you host Making It with Riki Lindhome.
Yes.
On Nerdist.
Yes.
Industries, the Nerdist Network. On the Nerdist Network.
Yes.
And Nerdist Industries. How did that come about?
That was that was another post-breakup thing. I've been living in just a reactionary mode for the last year, but it's served me career-wise because I've gotten to make a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah,
and I just like have thrown myself into making stuff, and including my podcast.
Like guys will say that being in a relationship and having love really helps their career, but I honestly feel like I don't know. Well, I'm going to say that for women, it's not that way, but maybe that's not true. Maybe it's just, that's been my experience.
Yeah.
But if anything, I feel like more often than not, a relationship slows down your progress.
I think so.
And your ambition.
I definitely think so.
Yeah.
Since then, I've just been making stuff constantly and just been on the road and, I've been taking advantage of the fact that I have no one to be accountable to and no schedule. I'm like, you know what? There's an upside to this and I'm going to go with it.
Yeah.
So I started that right after that. And I don't know. I just like, I always talk to people about career stuff and I'm always just curious how they did it and what their path was. I was like, I bet other people would like to hear this too. So
yeah, I really like it.
Thank you.
And did it start out on Nerdist or?
No, it started out with what's Scott Aukerman's Earwolf. Yeah. So I did the pilot over at Earwolf with Kate, and it just like wasn't really a great fit for Earwolf. It was just like, Scott and I were talking about it, and he was like, I think you should maybe do this, and I was like, well, maybe I should do that. And we just kind of talked, and then we're like, oh, maybe it's just not the right fit for the network. And so it was totally amicable, and I was like, can I keep the pilot? He's like, absolutely. And so I took that, and then I was going to put it out on my own, and then Chris Hardwick heard it and was like, why don't you put it on Nerdist? And I said, okay. Yeah,
that's really cool. Have there been any guests where it's hard to draw them out?
Not so far, not really. I mean, I think performers, it's super easy because they'll just talk and talk. Maybe writer, director types you have to probe a little more, or casting directors and stuff like that. But not really. I think once we get rolling, people just talk. And I always have a million questions. So,
and as a female podcast host,
yes,
because I am one as well.
Yes, you are.
Have you noticed there aren't that many of us?
Yeah, there really aren't. Who is the Julie Klausner? There's
Aisha Tyler.
Yeah, I've been on mostly guys' podcasts. Pop My Culture has that girl. But mostly guys, huh? I wonder why.
Then Adam's wife and Stephanie Wilder Taylor, which is on the Ace Network, they have a show. But other than that, I feel like there's probably a bunch more that we're not thinking of.
Yeah,
but there really aren't that many.
There's not. It's so funny because people are always like, there's no other female comedy duos, and I'm like, I know that there are, I just don't know them. Like, I'm sure there's a million female podcasters, I just am not sure who they are.
Yeah. Like when I'm going to drop that same name that I dropped earlier,
Mark Maron.
That's the one. When we were talking to Mark Maron, he was saying that it seems like you know, people like either they're into Joe Rogan or they're into Jay Moore, or they're into Adam Carolla, you know, or I guess Mark Maron. They're like, it's just like you have your guy. And I was thinking, or Alison Rosen.
Right.
Or Alison Rosen. I didn't say that, but, you know, but I know what he means.
Yeah, I think, I guess the big guns are all guys. Yeah, and Chris Hardwick, and that's weird. That'll change. That'll even out. They've been doing it longer.
True.
You know what I mean? How much content has Adam Carolla put out? Just like he's just built it and built it, and I can't think of any girl who's put out as much as he has.
Right.
So I think it'll happen. People just have to build it up.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a cumulative effect.
Yeah,
guys were just smarter and got in there first.
Okay.
You know, it's true.
So before you, in front of you,
yes,
there's a sombrero.
Yes, there is.
This is what we call the topic sombrero.
Okay.
And inside are bits of paper with things written on them.
Okay.
Because, and I'm realizing I should have explained this to you ahead of time instead of explaining it to you on the show, because the weekly listeners really are familiar with what it is now.
Okay.
Because I always explain it to the guests on the show. But anyway, as this podcast was starting, I tweeted, if you were going to listen to a podcast about dating, what are some of the things you'd want to hear discussed? And people tweeted me a bunch of things they would want people to talk about. And these things I speak of are in the hat.
Do you want me to pick one?
Please do.
Okay. Let's see. Testing your partner, seeing if you can trust them.
Okay, so that is a topic.
Yeah.
And what I will say is I think that it's very unfair to test someone. I want to make a distinction between actually sort of testing someone and just having an open mind at the beginning of the relationship and assessing how it's going and seeing if you're compatible or not, sort of looking at it like, well, this is like a test period. That makes sense because you don't want to commit or set yourself, you don't want to decide this is the person for me before you're ready to decide that. But to actually test them and to sort of look at things like, you know, where like this is a situation where they can win or they can fail, I feel like is really not a compassionate thing to do.
No, I don't think I've ever tested anyone because I feel like if you don't trust them, you're probably right. You should probably move on. Like if you don't, I don't know if like I have friends who like check their boyfriend's emails and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm like, it's already over. It's already over because you already fundamentally don't trust who they are. And if you need to test someone, it's the same thing. You don't trust it. So something inside you is going, this is not my guy. And if you keep, playing tricks on someone and testing them, they're going to fail eventually. So you'll prove yourself right.
Yeah.
So I think you have two choices. You can either just like take a leap of faith and trust them or get out.
Your friends who do this, do they usually ultimately find something?
Yeah, ultimately. I mean, sometimes it takes them a while, but
and are your friends distrustful in general, would you say? Or because I feel like there's two scenarios. One is where you don't trust the person, and that's because something in your gut is telling you they're not trustworthy. But the other one is where you just don't trust men, or you're coming into it thinking it's just a matter of time, and then you do find that thing that you're looking for, but maybe it wasn't that it's a bad guy, it's that you're just very paranoid.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one it is. I only have a couple friends that do it, and I think I'm not sure which one it is, but I feel like it tends to happen with most of their boyfriends, but I don't know if that's like self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
Because if you check every single thing anyone writes at any time, like you can find something you don't like. You can find some, even if it's not cheating or something, you can find something you find objectionable.
Yeah.
And then they know that you read it and it's over.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I'm trying to think if there could ever be a situation where I would read my boyfriend's anything.
I feel like I would be more forgiving of someone who cheated on me than someone who checked my email. I don't think I could ever get over someone checking my email.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I could get over someone cheating on me, but it's more possible than the email thing.
Why?
Because it just shows that like cheating could happen once, but the checking the email thing, it just shows that they fundamentally don't trust who you are.
Right.
And they probably did it the whole time. There's no way they just checked the one time, and that's a perpetual thing.
I feel like checking the email is sort of akin to the person saying that situation where someone's accusing you of lying when you're not lying, which that's like one of just thinking about it.
Whatever that feeling
making
is
me feel
so
stressed out. Yeah, I hate it. I hate it because there's nothing you can say to make them believe you, and it's just like there's no love in the way you're treating me.
Can I do a total non sequitur?
Please.
We were just in San Francisco, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, and the bouncers wouldn't let Kate and I into the place we were performing because they didn't believe us we were performing. And it was that same feeling where we're at this impasse. And they're like, no, you're not. I'm like, yes, I am. And there's nothing we can do. They were like, end of the line, ladies. And we're like, no.
They thought you were getting in to see you?
Yeah, well, because they didn't know who we were, and they just took one look at us and went, they're not comedians. And it was just the two of us and Reggie Watts. We're the only people performing. It wasn't even like a whole panel, like a whole list of comedians. They wouldn't let us in, and they yelled at me. And we got to this impasse where they're like, what are you on the list? And I'm like, no, because I'm performing.
Right.
And they're like, let me see your ID. I'm like, well, it doesn't say Garfunkel. There's nothing I can do. And Kate's like, maybe we should stand in line. I'm like, we don't have tickets. Like, we can't. We're at an impasse. And the bouncer's like... And people in line were going, we're here to see them. And he's like, yeah, right. And I was
like it's an elaborate prank, and you've roped the people in line in as well.
I was just like, you see that we're at an impasse, right? There's nothing I can do to prove to you I'm a comedian. You just have to trust me. Like, I can't say anything. Right. I'm wearing a little flowered dress, and I have an instrument and a partner, and that, you could double check with someone, but yeah, the guy was not smart enough to do that. So eventually someone from the festival came out. They were like, hey guys. And then,
How long did this whole thing go on?
It was probably 5 minutes. There was screaming involved, and everyone who was there to see us saw it happen. So
did the guy get in trouble?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. It was just weird. I was like, just ask your supervisor. Just double check, dude. And he was like,
it's not like
yeah,
he has...
right. I'm like,
that is so crazy. It's not like he's the final word. He works for people.
I know. And he was this big dumb dude, and there was like a bunch of dudes, but the main guy was just like, he literally said, do I look stupid to you? And I just went, which like was not the right move.
To you.
Yeah. And I just tried to walk in when he told me I couldn't, which was, I guess, also not the right move. But I didn't really have much.
Well, he left you very few options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except like to just go home and not perform.
Right.
Which then we've been in breach of contract. But whatever. Yeah.
Oh, how annoying. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
But it was that same feeling when someone's like, you're lying. You're like, no, I'm not. He's like,
right.
You're not performing. I'm like, I am. I don't know what to tell you.
Right. Mm-hmm. I need to move past this. It seems you already have, but I'm still stuck in that place where I'm angry for you.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was just funny because we had a good story to tell on stage.
Yeah.
So
do you get nervous before you perform?
Not anymore. I feel like we should. We're doing a Comedy Central special in like 2 weeks, and I'm nervous about that. I know. I'm really nervous about that because that feels kind of permanent. Mm-hmm. But like performing at clubs and stuff, we're just kind of used to it. We do like 5 shows a week, and it feels normal.
Do you get nervous before auditions?
Yeah, sometimes. It depends on what it's for.
What are you auditioning for today, or do you not want to say?
Oh, I can't say. I had to sign a NDA. I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement before the audition. Isn't that crazy?
Why?
Well, I can tell you what it is, but not in the air.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of these, like a lot of movies now are very secretive about stuff, and I'm not totally sure why.
Is that now? Maybe if you can't say, just tell me that you can't say. Is this the second? Is it like a callback, or is it just the first time you're meeting with them?
No, it's the first time. Yeah,
and you had to sign something ahead of time.
Yeah.
Did you have to memorize stuff for it?
Oh yeah. I guess you don't have to, but I need to. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't feel prepared.
Yeah, I know. That's actually something that I was just talking about this recently, that I realized early on, thankfully, for me, it's like very black and white about whether something's memorized or not. Because I used to go into things with something partially memorized, which means when I'm nervous that it's not in my head at all. And I'm looking at the paper and I'm terrible. I don't understand people who can sort of semi have something memorized and then be looking at a sheet and where it works out for them.
It's so lucky. It's like different kind of brain, I guess. Different level of calmness that I don't have. Mm-hmm. I need to feel really prepared, or else I just don't feel like I do a good job.
Yeah.
But I have gotten some jobs where I wasn't very prepared, and that makes me go, well, maybe I should just do that. But
now, what do you feel like? See, now I'm turning this into making it with Riki Lindhome, but with Alison interviewing Riki Lindhome.
Yes.
But okay, what do you feel like is the relationship between how you feel you did at an audition and whether you get the job or not?
For me, I think I'm actually pretty realistic. I tend to call things pretty well, shockingly. But I mean, I know immediately when I'm not getting it, but and I know when I'm in the running usually, but actually getting it, who knows? Like that, who knows how anyone gets a job? But yeah, my ratio is pretty good. I know some people it's completely backwards. They're like, I remember Kate's like, I tanked this audition. She was so upset. And then we're walking and she gets the call. She got it. So maybe her meter is less accurate. But
what about the people that you interview on your show? Do they talk about that?
I don't know. Not that I can think of. Not that people talk about auditioning, but I can't really think of, I don't know if I've asked them if their perception is accurate about it. I should actually. That's a good question.
So you are from
Buffalo.
Mm-hmm. I was about to say it. It was right on the tip of my tongue.
Oh,
actually, I was going to say Syracuse, but that's where you went to college. But so you're from upstate New York.
Yes.
And when did you move out to LA?
2001.
And what brought you out here?
I wanted to be an actress. So yeah, I'll just say
there wasn't a booming.
I know
art
everyone's
scene
always
in
like,
Buffalo.
"Oh yeah, I was just like gonna do whatever," and then I fell into it, and it was oops, It's like such liars. I moved out here to try to be an actress, and and I just started auditioning and doing that stuff for years before I started making my own stuff, which is so much more fun.
Had you been acting in Buffalo?
No.
And what were you doing out there? Just growing up?
Yeah, just growing up. We didn't have, our drama department got lost funding after my freshman year. So I was doing like a little bit of community theater and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of always wanted to do it. Mm-hmm. I just like, from the time I was really little, that's kind of typical story. And then I was like, fuck it. I'm going to go for it. I'm not really good at anything else. So screw it,
And did everyone believe in you and your family?
No. Some people did. I think they were just kind of scared. They were just like, it was funny because my parents are very supportive now, but they would do things like they would come up with ideas to help. And I know they thought they were being helpful, but my mom would call and she
still do that.
Yeah. My mom sent me literature for UCLA grad school. And she's like, Riki, look, you can go to grad school on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and you can act on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I'm like, go to grad school for what? And she's like, English. I'm like, I never read, ever. I listen to books on tape at best. I never read. I'm like, I should not have a master's degree in English. That's ludicrous. And my dad had the idea that I could live at home only in New York and just fly out for auditions since I don't have that many.
On Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I think they figured it out eventually and got on board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think parents realize sometimes that how their kids are interpreting their suggestions.
Yeah.
Because my parents a lot of times will have like all these ideas of things I could or should be doing.
Right.
Like my dad's latest one was, you really should look into the college circuit. I'm like, for what though? Speaking.
Oh.
Just for speaking or whatever. Because, they have... I'm not even going to go into everything.
Yeah.
But it's like...
Although I have to say, I saw Adam Carolla at Syracuse, the Loveline.
Well, yeah.
They did the Loveline college circuit.
No, it's true. If you're Adam Carolla, there's
Sure.
a lot of colleges that want to bring you out. But if
Yeah.
you're me... It's going to be a few more weeks till everyone wants to bring me out.
A little more
is what I'm
cumulative.
saying. Yeah. Let's give it some time.
Yeah.
Let's give it some breathing room, people.
Give it at least a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is that whenever my parents start like heating up with all their ideas, what I hear is they think that I'm not doing enough, or they think that I need help, or they don't trust that I'm actually on top of things.
Right. That's what I heard in the beginning. And now when they give me suggestions, I don't hear it as that. I hear it as them trying to be involved and trying to, because in the beginning I do think it was they were worried, and now I think they're excited and they just want to like help, but they don't. Yeah,
I think that is what it is actually.
Probably.
I wish I had your maturity to view it that way, because I do think that is what it is.
But in the beginning I was so like, I'm not accepting comments like that at this time.
Did you actually put it that way?
Oh yeah. My parents were like, what?
Wow.
You're not I was like, yeah, that is off the table. Anything about my career is off the table. You are not allowed to speak about it at all. And they're like, oh. I'm like, unless you say, go Riki, positive stuff. I'm not strong enough right now. I don't believe in myself enough where I can take any criticism or suggestions about other careers I could be having. And I just like took it off the table.
That's really smart. I never, ever, 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 ever do things like that. Like I never put boundaries on what people can talk to me about.
Really?
Therefore, I walk around upset that people said things to me a lot.
I like
that.
I like giving boundaries. Like I think it just, because people get kind of, annoyed about it at first, but then they just get used to it. Like for my 30th birthday, my gift to myself, I emailed all my friends and said I'm no longer taking anyone to the airport.
Oh, that's good.
Ever again. I'm 30 now.
At what age did you stop helping people move?
I'm pretty weak. I don't think I've ever helped anyone move.
No one's
I'm
ever
pretty.
asked you. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think anyone's ever asked me. But I would take a lot of people to the airport. But then I realized like Kate and I were constantly going to the airport, and I never asked anyone. And I was like, this is not working for me. And I started getting really busy, and it would take, they'd be like, my flight's at 4:30 in Long Beach, and then I was just like, okay, my gift to myself, never ever again. And I just told everybody at once, and I was like, if you can't afford it, I'll pay for your cab, but I will not take you. I don't have the hours anymore. And everyone was like, oh, again. But then they were like, but then no one ever asked me again. So it was great.
Did it make you nervous at all to think that they might be grumbling though? About it, or judging, or that it might not go well?
These were my close friends, the people that I would drive to the airport. So if they, if they couldn't get past that, then they weren't my friends in the first place.
Right.
If it was some emergency, like I would be there. I'm a good friend and, overall. But like, yeah, I was just like, I can't do it anymore. No one's taking me to the airport, and I go all the time.
Did you ever ask them though?
Sometimes. But then I felt bad because I was going too often.
Right.
So I was just paying I'm like, well, if I can pay for cabs, if I can drive myself, like, yeah.
Yeah, we all can.
Yeah.
Wow. Are there other boundaries that you can think of that you've set? I totally admire that.
I don't know.
See, the reason I don't is two things. Neither of which are very flattering to me when I think about it. One is that I'm always afraid of cutting myself off from a certain kind of information. This sounds crazy. This is like, I'm afraid to wear my tinfoil hat because then they can't read my brainwaves, and what if they need to see them?
Right.
And I hope it was clear that that was all in jest and that I'm not actually someone who wears that kind of hat.
I think that's clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can never be too sure.
Right.
This is like getting meta paranoid. Anyway, I'm always afraid of cutting myself off from a certain kind of information because what if the person actually has something legitimate to say, or, it's like that whole thing of,
that's true.
Well, you can't take, but I don't think it is though. But it's like that whole way of thinking of like, you can't take the good comments to heart, because if you're going to give those, credence, then you have to take the bad comments to heart.
Exactly. That's true. I mean, I think with me, when I was starting out in show business and my parents and my friends from home, I think that was an extreme circumstance because I was very unsure of myself. I had, 2% confidence and I just couldn't take it. I knew I didn't have it in me, and I knew I would take their comments in. And so at that point, it was just like, it was do or die. It wasn't like I can probably, no, I knew I couldn't take it. I'm very sensitive.
No, I am too.
And it was, so whatever information they had, I was willing to part with for not losing all of my confidence.
See, I go back and forth a lot on whether to be reading message boards and things where people might be writing negative comments. And at this point, I do look at it. I've made the rule with myself so many times that I'm not going to look at it, because I sit there and I'm like, it's sort of like that moment where you realize this relationship that I am in is bringing it's every time I see this person, I feel worse than before, and I just want to see them again. It's like there's a compulsion to it, and the sum total is that it is hurting my life.
Yeah.
That's like with the message boards. I'm like, I feel compelled to keep, this hasn't happened in a while actually, but for a long time I felt compelled to keep refreshing and keep seeing what they're saying, but it was like leaving me feeling worse. And it's the kind of thing where if I don't look at it, it doesn't exist for me.
Yeah.
But I always felt like, but what if there's like, what if oftentimes I feel like, doing the podcast is kind of in a vacuum without their feedback. And how will I know what I'm doing if I don't read what these 4 hateful people are saying?
Right. Well, I don't know. Like when I put up a video, usually I read at the very beginning just to sort of get a gist and see if people like it. But for the most part, I don't read comments. Although I have to say, we did this internet show called Equals 3 recently. Do you know that one?
I don't.
It's really popular. I've never heard of it. It gets
3.
millions of hits every week. This guy, Ray William Johnson, it's really popular. Like it's kind of like Tosh.0. Kate and I guest hosted. It's like a 4-minute clip show. And the audience, whoever they are for this show, did not like us, but to the point where Kate and I were reading the comments laughing out loud. They were so hilariously bad. Like the last time I looked at it, which was a while ago, we had 140,000 dislikes. So it was so ridiculous. But the commenters like weren't the smartest. Like my favorite comment that we wrote down was "These bitches is retards." They were like that, where we're like, "This is amazing," and we read the funniest ones at shows, and a lot of people wanted to murder us, which I'm like, okay, for ruining their clip show, and it comes out twice a week, and a lot of people called us like sandwich makers, and did like go back in the kitchen kind of stuff. Where I was like, wow, that's the best they can do.
Yeah,
I feel like if I was going to comment,
really, I feel like that wouldn't really hurt my feelings.
No, not at all.
It's so clear where they're coming from.
Right, that they're like that's the best you got.
Right.
Like, you're a sandwich. I'd never even heard the term sandwich maker before, but I kind of love it now.
Is that like a big insult out there?
I think it must be. Although I think I'm pretty good at making sandwiches. I'm not good at making much else. I don't really cook, but I think I'm a decent sandwich maker. So I take that as a compliment.
Them diagonally or like, okay.
Oh, well, I don't really use that kind of bread. I'll use like a fresh baguette.
And then too fancy.
And then no, I'm a good sandwich maker. I told you. And then put like some like super yummy olive oil and vinaigrette on it, and then I cut up Havarti cheese, and then get like that honey smoked turkey, and like I do make good sandwiches. So they were right about that.
Do you put a toothpick in it or anything fancy? No. Okay. Do you have a name for this sandwich?
Turkey.
But is that what you only call the turkey one, or do you call all of them turkey? Or is that the only one you make?
That's kind of the only one I make. So I should say I make good sandwich.
Does it bother you that other people use this name as well?
Turkey? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was thinking about suing Subway because I'm like, you're not a sandwich artist. Right. I'm a sandwich artist.
Do you do any other cooking?
Not really. I make oatmeal.
They nailed it.
They nailed it. Yeah. I was like, how did they know? I don't have time to cook. Or I don't have time to be interested in cooking.
Yeah.
Or I don't have the energy. My creative energy is 100% spent every single day. So I'm like, I don't want to learn how to make risotto.
Right.
And especially because I'm single, so it's just for me. I'm like, am I going to go buy 15 ingredients, or am I going to have someone deliver the risotto? And it's always the latter.
Right. Right. Yeah. I don't really feel like anything's missing in my life because of my lack of cooking.
No.
And it's not that I don't know how exactly, because if I were to sit there with a cookbook, there's in times of my life that I've made things. I'm not that, ill-equipped in the kitchen, but it's not something I ever really want to spend time doing.
Yeah.
I don't know that my boyfriend does wonder, like, how is it that he has more of the typically sandwich maker skills than I do, let's say.
Everyone I date wonders that.
Yeah. Okay. Like, where are you with sewing buttons?
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't sew buttons.
Have you ever?
No.
Oh, never ever.
Never ever.
Oh.
They do that at the dry cleaner. If you go to the dry cleaners, they'll sew it on for you. It's like 50 cents.
Yeah, so, and there's no threading of needles and like weird knots where you wonder, is this the kind of knot where if I pull it's going to come out eventually? I mean, immediately or...
Yeah, it's weird. People used to warn me. They're like, well, how are you ever going to be like a wife and mom? Because you don't have any of those skills.
Just live near a dry cleaner.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, live where there's takeout, live near a dry cleaner. I think that's about it. Get a GPS. I don't have those skills. Like, yeah, I think you just like get help.
Yeah, we were talking about this before the show started. I know you and I, when you were on the Adam Carolla show and I was there, we were talking about how we both don't know left and right. And have a bad sense of direction. And my life has changed so much now that I have GPS.
Yeah, me
because
too.
Because before I would have to sit there, and oftentimes I'd have to ask my mom to help me with directions. Even when I didn't live at home anymore, I would call her, and then because she's good at directions, and she was, knew her way around a Thomas Brothers guide, Thomas Brothers map. But yeah, I used to have to set aside a lot of time ahead of time to sit there with the map, and then I'd write it in big letters on a white piece of paper, and then I would have to leave really early, allowing time to get lost.
Same with me. And then I would have the Thomas guide in my trunk just in case. Yeah. And my brother's really good with directions. Even though he doesn't live here, he knows the freeway system here for some reason, because he has one of those brains where he can see it and know it.
I don't understand those brains. I don't have one.
My brother's really smart in all the ways that I'm not. Like, it's so interesting. Like, he can look at a math problem and he'll just be like 7, and they'll be like, show your work, and he's like, but it's 7. Like, there's so he kind of knows the freeway system, so I would rely on that. But
what does he do?
He works for my dad.
Cartographer.
He does title work for my dad, like in the oil industry. So
Your dad's an oil magnate?
No.
An oil baron?
Yeah.
An oil other word?
He's an oil baron. No, he's an oil and gas
You're the daughter
lawyer.
of an oil baron?
No, I wish.
I talked over what he actually does. What
He's
does
an
he
oil
do?
and gas lawyer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So close enough.
Oil and gas lawyer. So does he represent oil and gas companies?
Yeah.
Or
Like,
is it interesting work?
I don't know. He likes it.
I was going to say sounds like or doesn't sound like, and then I realized, no, I'm genuinely going to ask because I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. He talks to me about it, and it's like I listened, but I don't. I still don't quite understand what the day-to-day is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know there's an oil pipeline or an oil derrick or something? And I didn't even know what an oil derrick was at Beverly Hills High School. There's
there
some
is?
oil happening at Beverly Hills High School.
Really?
Yes. Aaron
that's
Brockovich
weird.
came on the show and was talking about it and was throwing around the term oil derrick,
Oil
and everyone
derrick.
was nodding.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh,
That's
this
like
is
when you go to a
buttons.
restaurant and someone's like, "Do you like oaky wines?" And you're like, "Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes, I do." Or like, what do you think about this oil derrick? Oh, yeah, that sounds
know.
bad. That's the oil derricks. Yikes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's nice that she assumes people know.
I love the bouquet on that woodsy casket oil derrick.
Yes. Yeah.
Casket. They don't say. No, they do. Do they say casket? That's a funeral word to me.
I don't know if they do. I wouldn't be surprised.
Casket aged oils.
Something
derricks.
yeah. Yeah.
Seems like something they would
That
say.
sounds real. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So on this show,
Yeah.
we have a couple segments.
Oh, are we only doing one of these?
Oh, we could do another one.
Oh, we don't have to. I was just
Well,
wondering.
let's do another one, but after we
the
do,
segment.
yeah. So
Okay.
I'll tell you what they are,
Okay.
and then you tell me if you have anything to share. One is just me or everyone, where we share things that we do that make us think: is it just me, or does everyone do this? And I have a couple. So if anything comes to mind, then you can chime in.
Okay.
And the other is deleted tweets, but I actually don't have any good ones for that this week. But it's things that you thought of tweeting but decided not to tweet because for whatever reason.
Right.
And mine are usually because they're either not funny enough or they're mean or they're too much about farts.
Right.
And I don't say because they're about farts, because I will tweet a fart tweet.
Yeah.
I just mean they're like too fart centric.
Right.
So,
Right.
Anyway, we have a Just Me or Everyone song.
Sometimes I ponder on something I have thought or done. Is it just me or everyone?
Okay. So I hope I didn't do this one last week. Gary, throw yourself against something if I did. So the only pictures I have in frames are like 10 years old because all my photos now are digital and I never print them out. They're just on my computer or my phone. And so the only things that I have in frames are from, back before digital cameras. So I'm surrounded by pictures of when I was in a band and pictures of when I was in high school, basically.
Just things that aren't relevant anymore.
Yeah. Of course, high school was longer than 10 years ago, but I just mean, yeah, like I don't know.
No,
do you
it wasn't.
print-
Forget it. We're both in our 20s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Tangent, but I have to tell you, I had a general meeting with a network recently, and I was talking to the woman, and I mentioned that I like a lot of 80s TV, and she's like, we're talking about it, and then she's like, but wait, I mean, how did you see it? Like, you certainly didn't watch it when it was first run. And then I was like, oh man, she thinks I'm a lot younger than I am.
Right.
So I told her I saw it on TV Land.
Yeah. Nick at Night. Right. Yeah.
Are you honest about your age?
Yeah. I mean,
I am actually.
mine is on IMDb and Wikipedia, so I figure I'm kind of stuck with actually how old I am. But I'm fine with it. But it did hurt me at first because when I was like 27 or 28, I was still playing college stuff. I would play like freshman in college, and then as soon as my age went on IMDb, those auditions did not come in anymore.
Interesting.
So and I wasn't like. I wasn't ready to play young mom because I looked like I was 20. So
Right.
it was a weird couple transition years after my age went up.
So then maybe it would have been better not to put it up? Is that what
Oh,
you think?
totally. I didn't put it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
never do that to myself. But
I don't know. See, I kind of internally like protest against the idea that people shouldn't be open about their age because it just seems like lying to me.
Yeah.
And yet I hear all these stories of how age actually does hurt people when they put out how old they are. But I'm just honest about mine because I've been for so many years.
Yeah.
And so I
these
feel like
days
it'd be
you'll
too
get
hard to go
caught.
back.
On the internet, you'll just get caught.
Yeah.
There's no way you won't.
Right. Yeah.
So there's no point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're both 27.
Yes.
So yeah. Anyway. Okay. So do you print your photos out?
Do I print my? I mean, I haven't in a million years.
Or get prints or whatever it is that people do who actually want hard copies of digital photos?
I don't do that. Some girl emailed us the other day. She came to the show and she took a photo with us and it didn't take, like it was blurry. And so she's like, hey, can you send me an autographed photo? And I was like, I don't have any photos. I don't have anything printed out. Like Kate and I don't have like a joint headshot.
Right.
I was like, I would, but don't have any. So not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, here's another type of question that's on your podcast, except this question actually wouldn't be on your podcast because it's too mundane. So it's just a question on my podcast.
Okay.
Actual headshot and actual resume, hard copies of them.
Yes.
Do you have those and do you take those into auditions?
I think I have some headshots left somewhere. I haven't brought them into auditions for years.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because I just interviewed a casting director on my podcast and she's like, make sure you have your headshot and resume. It's so annoying when people don't. I'm like, oh.
Really? I think it's so annoying when they ask for it when everything is supposed to just be digital in this day and age.
Yeah. Yeah. And mine are so old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because recently I went on an audition and at the last minute it's like, oh, by the way, don't forget to bring this. That was my agent said that because like they called and they want to make sure everyone brings this. And my experience was always whenever you have it, they're like, oh no, it's all digital at this point.
Yeah, and it sucks that it's an 8x10 instead of an 8.5x11 because you have to get a paper cutter and you have to make your resume fit,
and then you can cut off your finger.
Right? Yeah, which I've done several times. No, just kidding. But it's just
you healed well.
Yeah, it's just annoying. I used to get I got so many printed out when I first came here, and you go to Kinko's and they'll mass cut them for you. They'll just stick them in this big machine and it makes them 8x10. So
that reminds me of something I hate.
What?
Kinko's. Oh. I haven't been in a Kinko's in so long, but it used to be one of my least favorite places to be ever. A friend described Kinko's as like being inside the inside of a microwave.
Really?
That was redundant.
Is it weird that I like Kinko's?
No, tell me about that because I've always thought not everyone hates it so violently. What do you like about it?
Well, it helps me make projects. Like I'm always like, I feel like my life is like one big school art project, and I'm always just like, oh, we need to make like a weird banner that's like that's and they all always do it right then. So and these people, the people who work there are cool, and like you just go in and you're like, I want to make this weird thing, and because you don't have Kate with you.
Oh, is she like the Kinko's siren?
She's my secret weapon to getting people to be helpful. She's like, hey, excuse me, I was just wondering, and they're like, oh, I'll help you. Yeah.
What if you went in alone?
It would probably still work eventually, but not as quickly, and not as magically. But but no, we like I use Kinko's all the time to make fun stuff.
Maybe the reason it's going so well for you at Kinko's is because so many people aren't using Kinko's anymore. Yeah. And so they're excited when people walk in.
Yeah. And I FedEx a lot of stuff. So FedEx Kinko's.
The FedEx is also something that I hate having to deal with. Oh. I basically hate, and it's funny because I am a writer, but I hate dealing with paper. I remember college applications being especially awful because you'd get through like half of one and then you just have a room with paper everywhere.
That's true.
And having to mail anything I don't enjoy.
Well, the best thing about FedEx is it's like iTunes where you download stuff but you don't really know how much you're spending and you just get a bill later. We have a FedEx account, so we have a number, so you just write your number down and then you just feel like you're not paying for it even though you do.
Is this for merch? Do you send out merch that way?
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. We have someone who sends it out for us, the merch now, which is very fancy. We're excited.
That is neat.
Yeah.
Now, is this like a professional merch person or a fan?
No, we have an assistant now.
You do?
That
means you guys are important and you have a lot of stuff coming in and out of your inboxes.
I mean, the latter is very true. I don't know if we're important, but we do have the workload became unmanageable. It just became unmanageable for both Kate and I, who were just like, we can't do all this. Literally don't have enough hours in the day. So
you're important. Take it in. Let it be true for you. Okay. So what is it about Kate that makes it so that Kinko's employees and people in other areas of life want to help?
I'm not totally sure. I call it Kate face.
Kate face.
Yeah. Which is just like,
I have a niece named Claire and my brother and his wife call it the Claire glare.
Yeah. Like it's different. Like she has a, she's little and she's sweet and, she's like, gee, sir, do you think we could upgrade to a bigger room? That'd sure be neat. And he's like, all right. You know, so that it's worked for us really, really well.
Does she know what she's doing?
I mean, she must. But she can't, like, but again, it's like,
or is she ever like, just you wait, I'll charm him?
No, it's not that calculated, because she is teeny. She does have that face, and she does like, and she is very sweet and friendly. So all of that is true. But I think it gets turned up a notch.
Right.
When talking to someone in authority, being like, well,
she goes extra.
That'd be terrible if
elfin.
we had to pay a fee to cancel that flight, man. And they're like, all right, you know, it just works. It blows my mind, and we just know instantly, like, if we have to go ask for something, or if we have to give someone bad news, like, oh, we're gonna have to work with someone else. Kate's the one who does it. It's just it's unspoken.
Have you picked up any tips from being around her?
Yeah, but they don't work on me.
Yeah.
Like for me, I think I just have regular person luck. Like, you know, you're nice and you try your best, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But definitely with Kate, it's, I don't know. Part of me feels like maybe people think, I think sometimes people underestimate her. Mm-hmm. It's like, but she uses it to her advantage. Like, they think she's
right,
so tiny and cute, and like, oh, she needs help. She needs help. She doesn't need help. She's doing great. She's smart. Yeah. She's competent. She doesn't need any help, but like, the help is much appreciated.
Yeah. See, I have a friend who's actually very smart, but he plays dumb, although he would never say that's what it is. But the way he talks, it's very like slow and kind of, me and her, as opposed to like she, I mean, I don't know.
Right.
He didn't, it's not like he's super duper educated and therefore he knows grammar, or I don't know, but right. I suspect he knows that he's using incorrect grammar and being really colloquial.
Does it work for him?
Yes.
See?
Everyone likes him. Everyone is charmed by him.
Yeah, so who's the dumb one, you know?
I am. Because I try to come across as competent and smart and all these things that don't really make anyone want to help you and don't really help you get. I think actually, if anything, it's true. Sort of like I'm saying like, oh, by the way, I am on your level, if not beyond it. And I don't
like how I was with the bouncers in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, hello, we're at an impasse. No, I don't have tickets. I can't get in line, you know?
Yeah.
I think probably Kate could have handled that situation better.
Yeah.
She got scared during that situation because there were 6 large men yelling at me. So I think she sort of shut down a little bit, but I have a feeling she would have gotten us out of that jam faster than I did. But yeah, like competent, straightforward women don't inspire, you know, people falling over themselves to help you.
Right.
I think.
Do you watch The Bachelor at all?
No.
You can feel good about that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see,
dating shows make me depressed. I think I've been like, just ever since, you know, I don't know, like, since my breakup, but since even before that, I just like something about dating shows. Ever since I think I turned 30, I was like, things kind of changed for me then. Something clicked, and I was like, I didn't like any of that stuff anymore.
Yeah. I watch it, but I wouldn't say I like it.
Like the romance of it, quote unquote, makes me like, I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's a spectacle.
It's not what I want. I look at and those guys like, oh, if I was a contestant, I would never last longer than an episode because I'd be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Who is this person? Like,
yeah. I mean, there's nothing romantic about it. This is something I tweeted last night, and I'm not going to say it in the form of my tweet because I forget it. And plus, it's because we're having a conversation. They're like, so it'll be the group date, and it's like, what are we doing on this date? We're going shark diving, and the women are like, woo! Like, this is the best news ever. Or there's another date where they wanted to have lobster for dinner, and so they're talking to they're in Belize, and they're talking to the local lobster fisherman, and like all the lobsters are spoken for, but he's going to let them go lobster diving with them. And she's like, "Oh my god! Like this was the best date. It was everything she hoped for, and more than that."
Sounds amazing.
I don't want to zip line. I don't want to go on a helicopter. I don't want to climb a bridge. I don't want to be in a harness. I don't. want...
You know, Kate and I were supposed to go ziplining. We went urban ziplining in San Francisco.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, and we got all the way to the top of this tower, and it was so high, and you go 2 at a time, and she and I were strapped in. I looked down, and I got vertigo for the first time in my life, and I was like, I'm out. And I just took my harness off and walked, and Kate was like, what? And then they like pushed her, and she went alone.
Oh.
I just walked down the 15 flights of stairs or whatever, but like the world just moved underneath me. Like, that's not an ideal date.
Did you think that that's something you wanted to do, though?
Yeah, I'm super into like touristy stuff, adventure stuff. Every city Kate and I go to, we go to the best restaurant we can find and do at least one touristy thing. We took a helicopter over the Grand Canyon. That was amazing. Stuff like that. We just do any sort of fun touristy thing we can think of. But
where do you find the best restaurant and the best touristy thing?
Well, online, and then we ask people, like whoever the cab driver is, we're like, what's the best restaurant in San Francisco? And we take a poll. And then if we do a radio show, we'll ask the DJ or something, you know.
That's smart.
Yeah.
I would be like, I'm just going to hang out in my hotel room because I'm fun and adventurous.
Do you know, it's weird. Just like, I think it's weird. So, since it's Valentine's Day, I think it's weird that one thing that I realized that I used to do when I was in relationships and out of relationships, I only did like fun stuff in relationships and then not. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I get nothing just because I'm not like sleeping with someone, just 'cause I'm not in a relationship. I don't also get to go to amazing restaurants and go on trips and have adventures just because I'm like, that doesn't seem right. Like it all of a sudden just kind of hit me as like, wait a minute. I'm just like punishing my whole life because I'm not dating someone. That feels weird. And so now I try to have everything all the time, except, you know, sometimes relationships, sometimes not. But I went to Rome for New Year's with girlfriends and we just ate and drank and, you know, had a blast. And I don't know. I don't want to like deprive myself of stuff.
Yeah. See, I think I'm bad at doing that stuff for myself too. I'm bad at, let me explain it the other way. I'm someone who oftentimes will decide, no, I'm not going to do that last minute thing. Or unlike the women on The Bachelor, I'm not impulsive and I'm not really looking for someone who is either. Or, you know, it's late at night and I'd rather blah, blah, blah. Or like I always feel like there's stuff I should be doing instead of this last minute social fun thing.
That's true.
And yet the times of my life where I've been like, oh, you guys are going to ride bikes to wherever. And I'll be like, it's so out of character for me to decide to do this early morning thing, but I'm going to do it. I always am really happy that I did.
Yeah.
So I know that I should make myself do those things more often, but I just don't.
Well, you know, here's a way to think of it, because I feel like we're probably similar in like the workaholic thing where you always feel like you should be doing more. You're never doing enough. You're not like I have
trouble going to the movies because I can't.
Oh yeah.
I can't
you shouldn't go to the movies. You should take a helicopter over the Grand Canyon. Fuck the movies.
Yeah, you're right.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's how I kind of think of it. Like you can't have everything, and if you're going to be a workaholic and work all the time, you can't also, you know, go out every night, and you can't. So like, I just pick like, that's why I want to go to the best restaurant in the city. Cause I want to like, I have one
It's not
dinner.
I need to eat out more often.
I'm doing one dinner. You know, we're there for 5 nights. We're going out once and it's going to be huge. And then the rest of the time we work and we're doing one thing and it's going to be amazing. And then I feel good. I feel like I have a real life. And then the rest of the time we work. We work on the plane, we work in the hotel, and then we have 2 outings that we have set aside, and then I don't feel guilty.
Now, how are you with scheduling social engagements, though? Because I have a lot of friends who will
social engagement. Well, I have no social engagements. I have no.
I don't mean like a gala performance or anything like that. I just mean like I have a lot of friends who will tweet me like, "Oh, we should grab lunch or we should do this."
Oh my
and I'm
God.
like, "Yes, I agree we should, but I know we're not going to because I don't know how to begin to plan this and I want to."
I can't do it. I panic. Yeah. I can't do lunches because it like takes your whole day and it sort of just takes the whole chunk out of the middle.
Yes.
I'd rather do like drinks or dinner or something because then I can sort of plan until then. But yeah, I don't like lunches either.
Right.
I'm really bad at that. My friends are pretty understanding, but they really don't see me very often. I don't have a social life. Kate and I we make this motion on stage. It's our social life, and it's basically just us moving our finger back and forth. That sounds gross. It's us playing solitaire on our iPads. That's what we do. When we go back to our hotel, it's like we do 2 shows, and it's like, woo, amazing, it's so fun. And then we go back to our hotels, silent. There's no one, nobody called. There's nothing to do. It's really eerie, and so we both like play solitaire alone until we go to bed. That sounds kind of sad, but it clears my mind. But that's my social life.
I noticed in myself that the more I started performing professionally, the less social I became in my off hours. Like I feel like there's sort of a, and also maybe the less funny or fun I became just casually too, because it became this. I don't know if it's because being funny then became this thing that I was thinking so much about and it was part of work, or if it's because I just sort of that sort of exhibitionist thing was being satisfied by
It's beyond
performing.
fulfilled by performing.
Yeah.
And so you don't,
Right, so you're just taxed afterwards.
I feel the same way. It's like, yeah, I feel like you only have so much energy.
Yes.
And then you just don't want to perform for your friends. You just want to sit with them and just be together and just have a margarita and just hang out and just, just let everything go. Like when I'm with my friends, it's like very calming.
Yeah.
And nice. And, we'll like sit on my couch and eat ice cream for 5 hours and just like lay there and talk.
This past weekend, I saw a bunch of my old friends. I grew up in Orange County, California, and I went down there for my friend's birthday. And it was so nice to see everyone because these are all people that I know really well, and I don't have to explain who I am or anything. And it made me realize I really should see my friends more often, like we were talking about, because it just feels so good.
It fills you up. Yeah. It's hard to schedule. You're like, I can't do it. And then when you do, you're just like, oh,
why don't I do this
I'm
all
a
the time?
person.
And yet
I love these people.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I hate that because I feel like I'll blink and 10 years like 10 years could go by and I will have seen them on their birthday and that's it.
Yeah. It's really hard. I feel like once you get really busy, you have to kind of streamline though. Otherwise you're going to burn out.
Yeah.
Like I don't know many people who are workaholics and also crazy social. I just don't know how you'd have that kind of energy because it's not a time thing. It's an energy thing.
Yeah. But the thing with being a workaholic though is how much are you really getting done? Because if I just worked differently or more efficiently, if I were like Kinko's now as opposed to Kinko's back then where you had to wait forever and then the person couldn't even help you and it was awful and you had newsprint all over your hands if you were making copies of clips and things.
Right.
But at the same time, maybe I should just accept that ship has sailed and I just work the way I work.
Well, I mean, I feel like you have to like kind of schedule time to relax. You have to, or like even if it's not social, like you have to recharge or else you're not going to get work done anyway.
Yeah.
You can get busy work done, but that's how I feel now. I don't feel particularly creative because we've been touring so much and just doing like just busy work that like I haven't had time to recharge so I can be creative and write. And I feel like you kind of need to schedule that. I'm really bad at it. So I don't know why I'm saying you. I mean like the collective you, but
including you,
including myself. Yeah, I feel like you have to recharge.
Yeah.
Or else the work is going to be crappy. You're going to end up having to redo it anyway.
Topics on Burrow.
Oh, okay. Topics on Burrow. Here we go. Oh. How to separate the wheat from the chaff. Chaff equals people who will lead you on the road to destruction.
I think the answer to that is knowing yourself, first of all. Because if you know that you have certain patterns that involve going out with the wrong kind of people, then I think if you meet that kind of person where you have that feeling of, oh my God, I like this person so much, I need to be around them, that's probably bad.
Yeah,
like you probably should go the other way.
That's probably true. All I know is that I have no clue how to separate the wheat from the chaff, which is why I'm currently that's why my beacon is off right now. I feel like I still haven't, I feel like I'm still.
You have no insight into that?
I just feel like I don't know. I feel like after, I've dated so many people and I look back for patterns and I don't have a fucking clue.
Well, I could see it being tough because you like nice guys.
I do.
If you were like, I always end up with drug addicts who are dating multiple women, then it'd be easy to just avoid that.
Not.
But no, if you like the nice guy, I don't know. Maybe I mean, it could also be though that you actually are fairly good at selecting people and you just haven't met the guy that's going to be the one for you yet.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I feel like I used to think I knew stuff. I used to think I had good instincts. I used to think that I had good advice for people. And now I know that I know nothing about relationships and that when I date again, it's going to be like a total blank slate. It's kind of scary, but kind of exciting because I also feel like I'm like getting rid of my baggage. I'm like sort of like I feel like I'm hibernating.
Right.
Before I get back out there, I'm just like really clearing out my issues and I just want to start blank and just see what happens.
That's how it was for me. I was in that. I hibernated for like 4 years, which by the end of it was like, okay, there's something off that it's this hard for me to want to date again. Yeah. But it was the first time in my life that I ever didn't feel the need to date, and I didn't feel the need to, at the very least, have someone that I was thinking about. Like, I was truly fine. I was
weird,
almost
right?
too fine.
I have no crushes, and I don't want any crushes. It's
very
it's a strange
liberating.
thing. Yeah, it is.
Because for me, it was always like, I just remember thinking, okay, no one is hurting me right now. My mood is not related to what I think is going on with this person or not. I'm in control of my emotions. It's not tethered to all this stuff that I can't control. Why would I want to give that up? Like, this is something that it's hard to get to this place. I don't want to give it up.
And then maybe what you're looking for in a relationship is something where your emotional life is not tethered to how that person's behaving.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's what I find in this relationship now, is that I don't feel those huge highs and lows anymore. I just feel sort of a general good. But I mean, but I don't ever.
Sounds pretty great.
Yeah, it's nice. But I mean, for the longest time, I would have not wanted that, because I wanted those highs.
I know. I love the highs too.
Yeah.
I'm really into romance. I love just getting totally swept off my feet, falling completely in love. I love that too. It'll be interesting to see if I do have that again, or if I meet someone who's more even keeled and takes it slow and sees what happens. I can remember so well the shitty feelings, even though they're a long time ago at this point. It's like I can still recall them so well. Me too.
I'll just sit there and sort of marvel at the fact that I don't wonder how he feels about me, or I don't worry about it. And I feel pretty sure that he's not going to hurt me. And I can appreciate that so much that almost feels like a high.
Yeah. It feels like a more long-term high, a more sustainable high.
Yes.
Yeah. Because if it's like a super, super romantic love, when are they going to take that away from you? When does that turn? Or when are you going to get bored, or, if it's not supported by that other stuff?
I mean, for me, it was just about not being, maybe codependent is too strong, but no, not getting into a state where I felt like if I don't have this person in my life, I'm not going to be okay. And I always and very quickly got to that place before this relationship, or before my 4 years.
It's so good that you don't have that. I definitely had that in my last relationship. I thought if I lost this person, that I wasn't ever going to be okay. And now I feel like, okay, maybe I will. Maybe it'll be okay. It'll be different, but it'll be okay. But I did feel that.
Were you happy for most of the relationship, or was it up and down?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely had ups and downs, definitely, but not. But yeah, I was definitely happy. Yeah, for sure. But
do you ever talk to him or see him, or?
I don't. I'm not strong like that. I'm not like the thought of being friends with someone I loved, or being anyone that I loved, I've never spoken to since. I just can't do it. I'm too. I'm I would fall apart. I'm such a crier. I would lose it. I would. Well,
that's good though, because then at least you're not complicating it by that sort of in between, what are we now kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I'm not a friends with exes kind of person. If it's someone I dated and it was casual and it just didn't go, that's fine. We could totally be friends. But someone I loved,
the December guy.
Right. Yeah. I'll see him around. It'll be fine. He's a nice person, whatever. But the ex, no way. No way. We'll never be friends. Not that I don't want good things for him. It's not, I don't hate him, but I could never be friends with someone I loved. Are you?
I am friends with a lot of people that I was involved with, but anyone that I was in a serious relationship with, I'm not.
Yeah.
And I actually feel this weird anger towards a lot of them, which I almost feel like is unwarranted, and I don't know where it comes from. But when I think of them, I'm just like, ugh. I have this weird, knee-jerk kind of, I can't believe I was with that person for this long, or whatever. And then I wonder, where is that coming from? This derision, because I'm not really I'm not a hateful, spiteful, derisive person.
Yeah.
And yet there's this bloom of ugh, when I think about it. I think it's probably this sort of hangover from all of the stuff I suppressed to stay in the relationship with them, maybe.
Oh.
I think.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't in those relationships, it wasn't like they didn't cheat on me, or it wasn't like there was anything I can point to. It was just they didn't get me, and I allowed that to go on for a long time, and then all
Meeting
of a sudden
someone who gets you is pretty profound.
It really is,
and it's pretty rare. I think there are people who like you and get along with you and who even love you, but meeting someone who gets you, I feel like that's a gift.
Here's the weird, depressing corollary to that, though, just so we can go out on a bummer.
Yeah.
I feel like you can feel like the person gets you, and maybe they do, but that doesn't mean that they feel like you get them.
That's
true. And you can feel like they get you, and you get them,
and you're wrong.
Still, yes. And it took me a while to realize that but then I started looking at it like, well, but you could go to dinner and you could, let's say it's spaghetti or something. You could eat spaghetti and you think it's so good, and they don't necessarily think that. That's not
true. That's so depressing to think about.
I know. Because it's depressing, but in a way it's liberating when you realize that. Because I used to feel like, but this feels so amazing to me. How can it not feel, how are they not feeling it?
Yeah.
And then I realized, well, because it doesn't work that way always.
Yeah. There's like part of them that's like feeling unseen or unheard or
Yeah.
Guys have to be heard. You have to, I've learned that. They have to be seen and heard. Like, I guess women do too, but
yeah, I feel like I do almost too much. I feel like I demand that someone understand every fucking level of me, like way too much. It's probably
really?
exhausting. My boyfriend is probably tired all the time.
Really? I think I should be more like that.
Well,
I think I sort of like to be like the woman. Do you know what I mean? Like I like
Making
to sort of
sandwiches.
turn off. Yeah, I like to be the sandwich maker. I like to be like the girlfriend.
Yeah.
Just like be like
you don't feel like he needs to understand everything you're feeling and thinking and
no
saying and doing and
I mean it's nice if they do.
You don't ever have that moment where you're like, I used to be in therapy, but now I just talk to you.
No, God, no. God, no.
Me neither.
I would never not be in therapy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. I haven't been in therapy for a little while now.
Because of your relationship?
No, like because I moved back to California. I was in New York for 10 years. And not because if anything, being in the relationship makes it so I should be in therapy more. Because there was another person who's dealing with the fact that I'm not in therapy.
Right.
I moved back from New York. I was in New York for almost 10 years, moved back to California, and I initially saw the therapist that I had seen in California from like a therapist that I had gone to when I was in college.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, how exciting, Yeah. And then pretty quickly I just realized that I missed, and actually she's kind of like into social media, and I'm wondering if she could be hearing this. If she is, hi.
Oops.
But I do love her and I appreciate everything she did, but it just didn't feel right anymore for me because it's like, this is and I felt like at the beginning, and I just didn't want to put the time in to sort of get back to make it so that she knows who I am now, because I felt like a lot of things she was saying had to do with who I was, years ago.
And you're like,
and
I solved that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not obsessed with the Backstreet Boys anymore. What? Yeah.
I mean, I'll always be obsessed with them, but yeah. So I don't know. And I just haven't looked around to find another therapist out here. Occasionally I'll talk to my New York therapist on the phone.
Oh, that's nice.
Have like a phone session, but I'm not, but there's a lot of things though that come up where all of a sudden I'll be like, why am I reacting this way to this thing? Why am I reacting so strongly? And I realize that if I were in therapy, this wouldn't be happening because I'd be dealing with all my shit.
I really like self-analysis, and I'm into all that stuff.
Yeah.
I go to like a self-help workshop thing. I'm in therapy. I'm really into that stuff.
How long have you been into all this stuff?
Therapy for like years. The self-help thing I found post-breakup, but it was something I would have gravitated toward at any point in my life.
Is it a group therapy thing? Or
no,
what
this
is
woman,
it?
Marianne Williamson, she
yes, A Return to Love.
Yeah, you read that, but she's amazing. And she speaks on Monday nights in LA, and I go and I just like learn, and it challenges you.
Where does she speak?
At the Saban Theater in Wilshire.
I might have to check that out.
Oh my gosh, it just is like really opens your mind, and it makes you really figure out your shit. Like you'll be like, why am I getting so angry? And then she'll do some lecture, and you're like, she'll talk about it for an hour about why you get angry, and you're just like, oh God, she's right. She's very smart.
Does this cost money?
$15.
It's a small price to pay for inner peace.
Yep, exactly.
I actually have never made it all the way through one of her books. My New York therapist, aforementioned New York therapist. The funny thing is that my California therapist was like very put together and kind of looks little bit like Hillary Clinton, maybe.
Nice.
And but prettier. And my New York therapist is like super hippy dippy kind of granola, would like sit on the floor.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel like they're each a little bit the cliche of what you'd expect on the other coast.
Right. Like they went a little too far.
Right. So she was, very she's actually into astrology a little bit, which I always thought was, I'm paying for this. What?
Yeah.
But she always recommended Marianne Williamson's books, and then I would try to read them, and I'm like, I can't get beyond. I get the message of it, but I can't get it beyond like chapter 3.
Yeah, it's dense.
It is.
It's her lectures are dense too, where you're like, what? Like sometimes I like take notes because I can't take it all in because she's so smart and it's so dense that you're just like, what? Yeah.
I'm totally gonna have to check one of these out.
It's
though,
amazing
because I miss being a part of something where I'm thinking about myself all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I have this podcast, but it's not doing it entirely because I have guests, you know. I'm just kidding. Not that. I just miss that sort of open dialogue about self-help type stuff.
Yeah. And I know I'll be super sick of myself sooner or later, but this whole past year has been very like self-analysis, like moving forward, doing it. And so I've learned a lot, but I bet I'll reach a point where I'm like, okay, over it. Shut the fuck up. Moving on. Gonna go have some fun. I hope.
Maybe.
Yeah, I hope.
Well, Riki Lindhome, thank you so much
Thank
for
you for
stopping
having
by
me.
my house and for being on this podcast.
You're welcome.
But also, Garfunkel and Oates have a new album, Slippery
Yes.
When Moist.
February 21st.
Is that like a little play on Slippery When Wet?
Yes. That title was given to us by Reggie Watts.
I like that. Reggie Watts, with whom you were performing when you almost weren't allowed to perform in San
Exactly.
Francisco. That comes out February 21st. Where can everyone get that?
iTunes or CD Baby or anywhere, actually.
Anywhere CDs are in your computer.
Yes.
Okay. And your website is rikilindhome.com, or
Yes.
they can follow you on Twitter at Riki Lindhome. And they should listen to Making It with Riki Lindhome
Yes,
on
please.
Nerdist.com. And you should follow me on Twitter at Alison Rosen. You can follow the Twitter feed for this show at ARIYNBF, which is Alison Rosen is your new best friend, but it looks like Aryan boyfriend, which is an unfortunate thing. And then one last thing that we typically do on this show is producer Gary. I feel like producer Gary is not a good enough nickname for him, so we're always in search of other nicknames. Do you have any?
Gare Bear?
Gare Bear. Oh, that.
And when he's mad at you, he does the Gare Bear stare.
Oh, the Gare Bear glare.
Or the
stare.
Gare Bear glare
Oh my
stare.
God, this one is.
If you have a secret, be like, Gare Bear, share.
Top of the leaderboard right now. That's
I like Gare
man,
Bear.
in your face to the rest of the nicknames.
Yeah.
That's really good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you so much. And everyone, thanks for listening. And you guys are awesome. And if you enjoyed this, please give it a 5-star rating on iTunes. And if you didn't enjoy it, then take a long look in the mirror, because I don't know what's wrong with you. Okay. I love you guys. See you next week. Or you'll hear me next week. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen Show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go. Yeah, Alison Rosen is your new best friend.